In Ghana, we love space and we love a lot of it. And I know this is the case in some other countries. And obviously, I'm bringing Nigeria into this conversation. Now, we want bigger compounds, we want large living rooms, and oversized bedrooms. And for many people, a dream house is a very big house with more than enough space than we'll ever use, whether we actually end up using that space or not. But then with land getting more expensive by the day, I think it's time to ask, how much space do we really need? And is a bigger house always better, or is it more about how you use the space you have? Growing up, most of us learn to associate success with big things. And when you visited your friend and they had a large hall, it automatically meant they were rich. Or maybe you were the one your friends would visit. Now, a master bedroom with a sofa set was seen as a sign of status. And having a huge compound meant you were doing well, even if it's mostly empty. But then in today's Ghana, that dream comes at an increasingly expensive price. And I know if we had to choose and money wasn't really a problem, majority of Ghanaians would choose to live in prime areas. But then as we know it, land in prime areas are shrinking. But then it doesn't mean that there's no land. There is land, but then not everyone can write up a check for, let's say, about 1 million Ghana cedis for a plot of land at Spintex, or even 10 million Ghana cedis for an equivalent size in, let's say, airport residential or cantonments. Besides land, construction costs are also going up, and everything is becoming more expensive. And even if you already have your own property, maintaining it is no joke. So the conversation is shifting from the size of land or property you have to the utility. That is how well you use the spaces that you have and how well those spaces serve you. I remember I chanced on a snippet from Mr. Mwabeng, that's the former CEO of UT Bank, where he mentioned how he sold his big house and moved into an apartment at a point in his life. Now, at first, it used to be that once you can afford anything, you may just as well go ahead and buy it. But then now there are more questions that you need to answer before pulling your wallet out to make payment for anything, be it a property or just about anything you want to buy. So practically, how much space is enough space? Let's break it down. Now, your living room doesn't have to be the size of a mini conference center to be very comfortable. It's about layout, it's about natural light, and it's also about flow. Now, if that space is large, you will definitely end up spending more money to furnish it. And if you don't do it right, you may under-furnish it, where the space will look empty, it will look boring and lifeless, or you may also over-furnish it, where maybe your seemingly simple living area becomes overly cluttered. And I'm sure you've seen some spaces that had multiple sitting areas and many ornaments and all. I'm not saying that having multiple sitting areas in your home is a bad thing or it's an excess, but then if you're not actively using those spaces, then there are some reconsiderations that you have to do. Now, another room that often suffers this fate is the bedroom. Your bedroom should fit your essentials. That's your bed, your wardrobe, and of course some breathing space. Now, there's often a temptation to fill up empty spaces with the stuff we have. So you'd see a bedroom with many suitcases stacked together, and some even have their suitcases neatly tucked away somewhere, but then they still suffer from being overly busy when your bedroom is meant to be a place of retreat, very quiet place, a very calm place, and a place of rest. Some people will try to keep the bedroom minimal by having a walk-in closet where all the clothes are hidden from view, but then I don't think everybody needs a walk-in closet to make the bedroom space work. That may be up for contention, but then I personally think it's really about how you lay out your space and how well you use it compared to having a space for almost anything and everything. Now, when we get outdoors, of course, I mean, having a yard or a lawn is nice, but then a well-maintained and a well-designed small courtyard or rooftop space can serve the same purpose at a lower cost. Now, if you have a big lawn, definitely it will cost you money and time to maintain it. Even if you have your entire compound cemented, I mean, we'll still need to maintain that. We'll need to sweep it. We'll need to do some pressure washing to remove the mold spots and all that. But even that, I would not suggest that you have your entire compound done with cement. I mean, definitely we need some soft surfaces. We need some grass. Maybe you can have a garden. You can have a let's say a play area for the kids. You can have a gazebo, But no matter what you do, definitely just don't cement your entire compound. It's really not sustainable, and I don't think it's the best use of your compound space. There is more that can be done. Just find out what could be done. I mean, you could do some very beautiful landscaping. You could even have a pond. Maybe you want some Zen garden or something. There's so much we can do with our spaces, but unfortunately, in Ghana, we like to copy what others are doing, whether it fits our lifestyles or not, whether it fits our purposes or not. And I would like us to sometimes just break away from tradition and explore other alternatives and explore other options that will really be suitable for us. Because in the end, it's about you and it's not about others. In all, the truth, in my opinion, is this: what you would define as enough is quite relative. My enough would be maybe 2 plots. Your enough could be 1 plot. And it all boils down to your comfort instead of some baseless excess. The interesting thing about making the best use of our spaces is that a good design can make a small space feel big. Now, most people end up judging spaces based on the spaces they've seen elsewhere, and often these judgments are made from non-technical points of view. And you'd see that developers and architects have been rethinking layouts for the longest time. So you'd see an increase in properties on the market with open plan living areas. Some have open kitchens, there's built-in storage, of course. They are using lighter colors and even large windows that make a small apartment feel more spacious than a poorly designed big house. So maybe it's not about how much space you have, but rather how intelligently that space is designed. And this is why when you're thinking about your dream home, I'd suggest that you don't start by first thinking about space. Rather, think of your use cases. Maybe you have a young family, so the kids will definitely need a place to play. Now, can that play space serve another purpose? And when you're making these decisions, definitely do well to bring in an architect to help you align your plans and make them practical. The case for architects is also another episode in the works, so do well to stay logged into the podcast so that you don't miss out on these updates when we publish them. In major cities across the country, compact living is becoming the norm, and it's not by choice but rather by reality. Now, there was a time when most houses were built on a full plot that's 100 feet by 100 feet, but then those houses were just at one level, no upper floors. But lately, what we are seeing is that more people are selling for houses on smaller plots. Some could be on half plots, and not even a full house. Some people are even settling for semi-detached houses or even row houses, or what we would normally call townhouses. And some people are selling for apartments. And I know that generally living in apartments hasn't been a Ghanaian thing for the longest time. But then lately, I mean, if you really want to pay your tent in a very good location, you need to consider the options available to you. And it so happens that apartments are springing up everywhere. So a lot of people are opting for apartments as well. And a lot of things are changing in the space. And don't be too rigid and you feel like because you grew up in a big house, your house has to be equally big. Things are changing and we definitely need to be adaptable. We need to be flexible. Otherwise, we will end up being stuck in the past. You'd see a case where young professionals are preferring manageable spaces that they can easily maintain. And also, when you look at the case of diaspora buyers, they're also keen on apartments that they can just easily lock up and go instead of settling for maybe a big compound that will require a caretaker. Even families are realizing that you don't really need 6 bedrooms when they can actually make do with maybe 3 bedrooms that are well planned, which will serve them better. This is a shift from quantity to quality, and it's a shift from perceived need to the realities on the ground. What then is the cost of having excess space? Well, in real estate, every square meter costs you money, not just to build, but also to furnish, to clean, to cool, and also to maintain. Now, if you're in a decently sized living area, you may just need, let's say, a 1.5 horsepower air conditioner to cool the space. But then when you're in a bigger space, definitely you'll need a more powerful air conditioner. And even not just one, you may need actually more than one. And that will cost you money. Unfortunately, your spaces don't have feelings to empathize with you, to say that, oh, we'll manage the little efforts you make. Like, imagine a hall, a big hall, and then maybe it has feelings and it can empathize with you and say that, oh, I know you don't have money, so I'll make do. I'll try and get the place cool with just a small AC in the corner somewhere. It doesn't happen like that. A large hall will still be hot if you put in a small ceiling fan or a small air conditioner. The point is made, so let's move on. Bigger spaces also mean higher property taxes. It will also mean bigger electricity bills and definitely more upkeep. Sometimes the dream mansion ends up becoming a financial burden on many people. It's easier for a big house to look old faster than a small house because there's often so much to be done in keeping the property in shape. So you'd see that a well-optimized 3-bedroom house may serve you better than an expansive 7-bedroom house that you barely use. And this ties into our last 2 episodes where we discussed the matter of wealth and real estate, in that the property you hand down to your children is wealth handed down. But then if that property is not well maintained over time, the value will fall. And nobody will want to pay for a property that needs a lot of work to make it livable again. So then, how much space is enough space? Now, to get realistic answers, we need to start with your lifestyle. How do you live day to day? How many people will actually occupy the space that you're working on? And do you value big rooms or functional spaces? Your house should serve you and not the other way around, where you end up spending so much time doing housekeeping. Now, even if you have someone doing the housekeeping for you, you're indirectly doing it because your sweat has only transformed into the money you're paying to the cleaner to take care of the house. So whether your target is maybe a studio or maybe a 5-bedroom house, the goal is comfort, usability, and sustainability. At the end of the day, space is personal and it is what you make it. The real luxury is not in square meters, it's not in the size of the property or the space, it's in how well that space works for you. So before you buy or before you build, you need to ask yourself, do I need more room or do I need better design? And it's not about what others think, it's about you. If you found value in today's episode, you know what to do. Like and of course share. And if you've not subscribed yet, it will just take a click or a tap. And don't forget to click on the bell icon to be notified anytime we publish a new episode. There's more coming up and there's better coming up. That I can guarantee. We'll have interviews, we'll have sessions outside the studio. So just stay logged in so you don't miss out on any of the interesting updates that are coming up. I'm Desmond Kafui, and this is Ghana Ground Up. I'll catch you in the next episode.